Often, survival horror games will employ puzzles and their mechanics as a way to further enrich a player's experience. It's not just all running around from monsters and supernatural foes or witnessing gore-filled cutscenes. Sometimes though, the puzzles featured in horror games feel as if they've been plopped into the title to break up the flow of the narrative, or rather, give us a break for being petrified. Other times the puzzles featured will feel ingrained in the story world, a necessary means of survival, and they compel us with their attention and overall fear factor. So today we are counting down a handful of those with our picks for the top 10 scary video game puzzles. Starting us off in at number 10, Resident Evil, the Bee Puzzle. Let's begin our list with a classic horror game and one of its puzzles, Resident Evil and the Bee Puzzle. Specifically, we're looking at the remake of Resident Evil here. These graphics make those bees look a little bit more realistic than they need to be. No pun intended there. Bees. Many consider the Bee Puzzle to be one of the most challenging of the series, and the most fun. But successfully completing the puzzle results in a jump scare of sorts. When you get the wind crest, a bee decides to appear and attack you, with you shooting at it. Compared to the atrocities that you find throughout the rest of the game, the bee is definitely no big deal, but it is still a fun little jump scare nonetheless. Moving on to number 9, Home, and all of the game. Home is an indie 8-bit side-scroller game that's shrouded in mystery. The whole premise of the title is that you wake up with a bummed leg in a house that you don't recognize, and you need to work your way back home, with most of the game being only illuminated by the flashlight in your hands. It creates a pocket of light surrounding you as you walk through the otherwise completely dark levels. The sound design in the game is brilliant. For the most part, all you hear is your footsteps and a few external sounds, some of which act as jump scares from time to time. Now, the entirety of Home is a giant puzzle, all to figure out the series of events that left you waking up in this mysterious house, and the way in which you perceive the story is entirely based on what you find in each of the levels, which, might I add, can turn into a bit of a maze, causing you to get lost every now and then and miss stuff. What does the mystery entail? Well, your wife is found dead, she may have been having an affair, there might be a serial killer lurking in the woods killing young women, and there is something weird up with your old place of employment. All in all, it's one giant puzzle that ends up being more subjective than you think it will be, causing many players to ponder what the truth really is and if the character's desire for suicide at the end is too extreme or not. Sometimes that's not even an option depending on what you find. Moving on to number 8, we have another title that is one giant puzzle, Wake Up. Wake Up is a horror game that was whipped up during a game jam and cites inspirations like Twin Peaks and the Silent Hill series. It's a fixed camera horror that plays with the idea of repetitive loops, leading you into a theater with you having to follow the clues that are written outside of the theater in order to figure out which ways to go. Just to give you a taste of this, when you first enter the theater it says left, left, right. You need to follow those directions in order to solve the puzzle in order to, not get stuck in a repetitive loop. It's a fun little game that has its scares and its creepy vibes that will definitely keep you compelled as you play. And at number 7, Silent Hill 2, Free the Innocent Man. There are a lot of memorable puzzles in Silent Hill 2, but one of the eeriest within the game is the Free the Innocent Man puzzle that occurs near the end of the labyrinth, and involves a criminal who was wrongfully executed. So the puzzle consists of 2 identical rooms, minus one specific detail. One room has 6 nooses in it, while the other has 6 corpses. You need to figure out which criminal was the innocent one, and pulling the correlating noose in the opposite room to set him free to solve the puzzle. If you choose the right criminal, you'll get the key of the persecuted. If you choose incorrectly, lying figures will appear in the hallway waiting to attack you. Of course, you're given a clue in the form of a riddle in order to solve it, so that is always a fun time. I think I could pass on the lying figures. And at number 6, Gone Home. Is it haunted? Gone Home is an indie title that everyone assumed was supposed to be scary, but it actually wasn't at all. Honestly though, that was one of the factors that made playing Gone Home compelling. It created a whole lot of tension, and the empty atmosphere made players think that perhaps there might be something more sinister at work behind your sister's absence. The game turns out to be a heartful tale of your little sister's coming out story, and reveals that she has run away. The game, like a few other entries on our list, is one giant puzzle, unlocking each room to find out more about where your sister Sam went via her journal entries addressed to you. You eventually get up to the attic and discover a Ouija board and a table covered in what appears to be a satanic ritual, but it is all just misdirection. A product of 2 teenagers messing around that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the emotional story underneath. But regardless, navigating that big ol' empty house and solving its mysteries left many players thinking they might stumble upon a much scarier truth, and for that experience alone, it made for a really nerve-wracking title, but also a really heartwarming one. Up next at number 5, something significantly scarier, Outlast and the Generators. Nothing like a generator puzzle to push you over the edge and make you want to soil your pants. Outlast, a horror survival game that was first released for the PC in 2013 and then on other consoles in the following 2 years, takes place at a remote psychiatric hospital called Mount Massive Asylum. It is filled to the brim with out-of-control patients who want to kill you. Fun stuff. Early on in the title, there's a level where you have to turn on a series of generators in order to progress. It is really your first interaction with deadly inmates, insane patients who want to kill you senselessly and mercilessly. For the most part, it is a combination of finding the generators, turning them on, then hiding from the two potential threats lurking in that basement level. Each time a generator goes on, one of those patients comes looking for you, meaning you need to find a place in the darkness to hide. Sometimes under a bed, sometimes in a locker, you name it. All of it is incredibly frightening and tense. Without the added fear factor though, it is a fairly straightforward puzzle to be honest, but you know, it's pretty scary because you have to use night vision for most of it, so. And if you're like me, you run out of batteries hella fast because you keep accidentally changing them, so be warned. In at number 4, Slender the Arrival, Stage 3, Into the Abyss. There are multiple puzzles in Slender the Arrival, all of which are fear-inducing, but perhaps the worst of the worst is the generator mission in Stage 3, yes, more generators, also known as Into the Abyss. It is a stage that we've talked quite a bit about on our channel, and it is one of the most nerve-wracking sections of the game. So, you find yourself at the beginning of the stage waking up in an idyllic park, which contains a building that isn't dissimilar looking to a mine. When you enter, it's dark, it's grim, and quickly you'll discover that the only way out is by starting up a series of generators. But here's the thing, as you navigate this creepy underground complex, you learn that you are not alone. The level is filled with a bunch of children who were victims of Slender Man, hoodie-wearing, pale, vicious little that are determined to pounce on you at terrifying speeds and kill you. Their sharp little teeth and nails. As you can tell, I did not do well in this level. All you can do is stun them with your flashlight. Now to make matters worse, Slender Man is also kicking around, and you've got to avoid him. After running around for God knows how long, you'll eventually find all the generators, and then comes the hardest part, getting back to the service elevator and getting the hell out of there without being pounced on by one of those little hooded Sorry, I have a little bit of trauma about the whole experience. I had to do it several times. It was a lot. In at number 3, Inside, Flooded Basement. The flooded basement level of Inside is one that requires great patience, great timing, and a whole lot of confidence because it's scary as hell. Inside, often considered the spiritual successor of Limbo and made by the same people actually, is a puzzle platformer where you explore a surreal and monochromatic environment. One puzzle in particular is quite bone-chilling, typically referred to as the flooded basement. Now upon diving into the water-filled area, at first you notice the figure of what appears to be another person, floating, surrounded by a thick fog of hair. They kinda look dead. As you swim away from it though, it begins to move and it becomes apparent that it is coming after you. In order to get across that level, you need to trick the water creature and move quickly. Now it moves faster than you do in the water, so where you dive into the water and where you dive from can make a whole lot of difference if you plan on making it through the level in one piece. So we all know how terrifying it is to die in that game. Moving on to number 2, The Evil Within, the 3-room puzzle. The 3-room puzzle occurs in chapter 5 of The Evil Within, triggered by getting locked into a room that seemingly has no exit. Now in order to progress, you must solve the puzzles in each of the 3 rooms without dying. The 3-room puzzle is filled with scary visuals, chilling sound effects, and lots of supernatural spookiness. You essentially end up exploring 3 different rooms with corpses on tables, and then select the correct button in order to press to impale each of the corpses with metal spikes. Now before entering each room, you look through a tile in the wall to see a ghostly figure with each of the bodies, with the ghost's actions hinting to a clue as to which button to press. If you successfully find your way out of the room, you get to witness a terrifying gore-filled sequence that eventually leads you to an exit. And if you fail, well, you're the one who ends up dead. Or I guess you join the dead bodies in the room. Either way, being impaled, not fun. I mean, I've never been impaled, so don't plan on it either. And finally, in our number 1 spot, Limbo, the Spider. Limbo is a puzzle platformer from developer Playdead that was released in 2010 to rave reviews. You play as a nameless boy traveling through dangerous environments on a mission to find your sister, and the puzzles throughout the game were created by the devs with the intention of players failing their first attempt at them. Gruesome imagery is used for the boy's death, and at times it can get really grim. Perhaps one of the scariest puzzles in the game though comes right at its start, establishing the tone of what players have gotten themselves into. Early on in the forest, you encounter a large spider who tries to impale you with its legs. You have to trick it into aiming for you and then stomping on the ground twice in order to shake a large trap out of a tree. Now once that trap is free, you need to drag it over to the spider, place it under its legs, and one by one trick it into stomping onto the ground and right into the trap. Once you've done this 3 times and cut off 3 of its legs, the spider will retreat up the tree, leaving you to go further into the dark abyss through what appears to be a cave of sorts. Now by the time you realize that that cave is actually the spider's den, it tries to kill you once more, picking you up, winding you into a web cocoon where you're forced to wiggle free and maneuver through the next chunk of the level by merely hopping while the spider slowly tracks you. It's scary as hell. Alright, there we have it, friends. Now is your turn to tell us what puzzles have freaked you out the most. Which ones gave you an unexpected scare? Let us know in those comments below. If you dug this video, you guys know what to do. Hit that like button and spread that love. And hey, if you haven't already, why not subscribe to Top 10 Gaming? We'd love it if you hung out with us some more. In the meantime though, thanks for watching, friends. I'll catch you all in the next video.